What is up, everyone? My name is Joseph, and I really like Slay the Spire. Every once in a while, I need to pull myself away from my addiction, which, no, is not drugs and alcohol, no matter how much I look like Sloth from the Goonies. It's actually a game made in 2007 for middle schoolers, but sometimes I need to just play a different game. And today, that game is Slay the Spire, and honestly, I really like it. And it's not because I'm particularly good at this game, because God knows when it comes to card-based strategy games like Hearthstone or old Hearthstone, I suck ass. And not in a good way, like modern rap culture has attributed to booty consumption. No, I'm just incredibly bad at this style of game. Like, if it was my job to play these games on a regular basis, my career would be probably as successful as my YouTube channel is when I don't upload RuneScape content, but I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, before I get into my thoughts on this game, I do want to go over it and explain what this game is for those who may not know. In general, it's a very complicated game, but I will try to break it down for you. Very simply put, Slay the Spire is a roguelite dungeon crawler with card-based combat. The basic goal of the game is to get through 3 maps, each containing randomized paths which have stops along the way that can be either regular or elite combat encounters, merchants, rest areas that allow you to either heal or upgrade a card, treasure rooms, unknown encounters, which can include some of the previously mentioned encounters, as well as a new type of encounter that is generally like a risk or reward based decision that can be either really good or moderately bad. And what I mean by moderately bad is that you probably won't lose a run based off of one of these, but it really can set you back if you get a bad one. And the last type of encounter is the boss at the end of the floor. So you start off the game by picking one of the 2 starting boys, each coming with a generic starter deck that is a set of cards with basic attack and defense level cards, and these are used for combat. Both of these characters have unique and different playstyles, and both are fun in their own right. Ironclad is obviously the better and more fun character to play, but if you disagree, that's fine. I'm generally open-minded and an accepting person, so I'll still be your friend no matter how wrong you are. Anyway, like I said, the cards in your deck are used for combat. When you start a combat encounter, you're dealt some of the cards from your deck, and these can be used to defeat your enemy. There's 3 general types of cards: attack, skill, and power cards, and these cards can be used to deal damage, block incoming damage, buff yourself, or debuff your enemy. So how do you add more cards to your deck? Well, after each combat encounter and some of the other encounters, you'll have the option to choose one of 3 random cards to add to your deck. These cards that you choose from are random, so you always have to account for the fact that you may not get a certain card or a certain synergy later on in the run. These cards are played based on their energy cost. Cards have an energy cost ranging from 0 to 3, with a few outliers having 4 that can be played under special circumstances, and the basic mechanics is that you play cards until you don't have any energy left available. Very similar to almost every other card-based game out there. So you start off the game with 3 base energy, and this number can be increased temporarily through certain cards, or permanently through the use of relics. Now, relics are the last main mechanic of this game, and in general are a bit more simple of a mechanic. These are items that are dropped from elites, bosses, and occasionally the unknown rooms, and these relics give you a passive effect that ranges from to really good with possible drawbacks, depending on your character and your deck build. For example, there's a relic called the Velvet Choker, which gives you a permanent extra energy every turn, but it gives you the restriction of only being able to play a maximum of 6 cards per turn. So if you have a deck with a lot of 0 cost or low cost cards and a lot of card draw, while the extra energy may be helpful, it may also be putting some of the synergies you have at risk by limiting the amount of cards that you can play that turn. So that's the game in a nutshell. It gets a lot more complicated and in-depth as you play it, but that should be good enough for an overview. So now that you know all that, what really makes this game good? Yeah, the visual and sound design of this game are absolutely fantastic, but the dungeon crawler style of game and the card-based combat aren't things that are independently unique. So what is it that this game does that others don't? The answer to this may be varied per person, but since this is my channel, it gives me the right to be as narcissistic as I want, so I'm going to give you my reasoning on why this game is good. And that reason is balanced progression. The randomness of the deck building mechanic allows for fun and unique runs that always teach you something new about the game or show you a unique synergy that you may not have been aware of before. And due to the inherent nature of this deck building mechanic, you can always have these unique runs even after hours and hours of playtime. Even once you become a top tier deck strategist and you can form a winning run out of any card combination, The journey to get through the floors is still entertaining and enjoyable, just due to not knowing what's going to come next. In general, I think relying on RNG can be a little bit risky for a game. It can be used as a gimmicky way to fake difficulty or increase the length of a game or a run, but I think the balanced nature of a lot of the cards in this game really leans more towards a skill type of play rather than being able to just get carried by lucky draws. So even though this game is in early access, I do think there's hours worth of playtime. Even just the time invested to learn the basic mechanics and the basic card synergies is enough to justify the price point. And that just gets made better by the promise of more content with more enemies, playable characters, and cards that the developers have talked about. And that's coming from someone who is generally very adamant against early access games. It takes a lot for me to notice an early access game, and it takes even more for me to buy that game before its full release. So for this game to have done both and not only met but exceeded my expectations says a lot about the game in my opinion. And that's really why I like Slay the Spire. If you did enjoy my overview and review of the game, be sure to give the video a like, and if you've not already, be sure to subscribe. But that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you next time.